So I'm sure if we talk to you on Sunday, there's going to be a guy or two or five that are going to pop up that weren't everybody's on your radar. I know that, but not necessarily somebody you're honing in on. But as it stands right now, going into Saturday, we'll stay with the offense. Who are you looking for? Whether that's specific players or units or a narrative or what that is.
Unit narrative kind of goes together for me, Mark, and it really comes down to, I mean, you know this, right? You're not going to look like your September, October, November version on April 23rd. And that's not the expectation. But I do think there are some things that you can get from it. And when you look at the overhaul that we've seen on the offensive line with Harry Heastand coming in, with Chris Watt coming in, with Jeff Quinn moving out, there's an expectation that the offensive line is going to start to look like it did under Harry Heastand. And not so much from the standpoint of, you've got Quentin Nelson's and the Mike McGlinchey's, but those lines were known not just for great players, but also they play with great fundamentals. They play with great technique. They play with power and physicality and toughness, things that have kind of been lacking for much of the last 4 years, with one exception. That was 2020 when it was Chris Watt's only year as the GA. He's back as the GA. He obviously played under Harry Heastand. So there's a level of expectation that this line is going to get back to being what it used to be. They're going to make mistakes. They're going to miss blocks. There's going to be those type of technical mistakes, which I'm not concerned about. But what I need to see on Saturday to feel like this line is progressing is the toughness, the moving their feet through contact, using their hands and getting a push and really battling and competing, something we didn't see a lot of last year. For me, offensively, that's my number one takeaway. And then number two is, are there going to be some young guys that step up, Mark? Like you mentioned, there's always a kid every year that nobody's ever heard of, or we've heard a little less about, or maybe we've heard a lot about another guy and somebody else steps up late, like a Jadarian Price at running back, or an Audric Estime. Chris Tyree, Logan Diggs get a lot of the oxygen in that position, but can an Audric Estime or a Jadarian Price kind of break out and finish good springs with good spring games? Can Deion Colsey kind of take that next step as a player and end his spring on a positive note? Those are the kind of guys skill-wise that I look for. I don't care what Lorenzo Styles does in the blue gold game, Mark. I mean, if he has 8 catches for 120 yards, like, okay, great. He did that in the Fiesta Bowl against Oklahoma State, who had one of the top 10 pass defenses in the country last year. Like, if he catches one ball for 2 yards, I don't care, right? We know what he can do. They need somebody like a Deion Colsey, who is an unproven player, who has only 4 career catches, to step up and say, he can help us now too. He deserves to be in that rotation. I think those are the storylines I care more about from a spring game than, oh, gee, Chris Tyree's still fast, or hey, guess what? Michael Mayer's still really good. Those are the things that you just kind of assume and you're ready for. I don't need Braden Lindsey to do anything. I need those other guys to kind of show us and give us some optimism that they may have a chance to help out in the fall.